Yeah, right here.
You, in your current novel, you're doing with manufactured viruses, and we all know that as viruses evolve and literally become more complex, there's a greater risk of having something like this happen. Do you think there's a greater chance of it being a constructed, manufactured virus versus a natural mutation, such as an offspring of Ebola or something like that, that could cause this?
It's a real good question, and natural mutation takes time. So I think eventually Mother Nature will get cranky enough to kick up almost anything. Whether it's going to, whether that would happen in our lifetime, it's kind of hard to say. I mean, Ebola continues to evolve, but Ebola is a weird virus anyway. Nobody knows where it came from exactly. Nobody knows why it stopped spreading, because it did, and it shouldn't have. Nobody knows why it every time it shows up again, it's a different strain. I actually think, and truly think, that somebody's screwing around with it. I think somebody's test driving it. And it was because of that, my only conspiracy theory that I actually own, that gave me the idea for Patient Zero, because they are test driving a pathogen in that. And Ebola shows up as a theme in King of Plagues, my third Joe Ledger book. But I really do think people are messing with combinations of it. I know bioweapons research continues to go on. And one of the things that it kind of fits into Michael Crichton's idea of whether we should try something, is that people will research all the variations they can think of on a virus just in case something happens. Well, that sounds great, but things get out. We know that. We know that HIV, Ebola, things get out of the lab, no matter how many precautions we take. If you start creating this stuff, you could wind up destroying what you're trying to save. And I think that's a lot more likely than Mother Nature kicking something up, though she has been known to throw us some curves.
I was thinking more about the fact that we can easily identify the shepherd's crook. I mean, just about any doctor in the world can glance at it. But they're starting to do more and more RNA stuff that's below the virus that is restructuring the genes.
Yeah.
That seems to me that Mother Nature isn't going to randomly kick that out, but we know it's going on right now.
Yeah, well, that's Dragon Factory. Dragon Factory deals a lot with genetic manipulation. And in fact, one of the subplots deals with some very bad people who take genetic diseases like Tay-Sachs and sickle cell and turn them into communicable viruses. And that research is actually going on, because the theory, or the statement, is that we need to do that research in case natural mutation happens. It would take 1,000 generations or more for natural mutation for that to happen. But it is interesting that people are still working on that sort of thing. I do think it's going to come out of a lab. Whatever's going to, if there's going to be something that's going to be a major unstoppable pandemic, it's going to come out of a lab. And that's why I write plague-type novels, because that scares me. It scares me more than werewolves, vampires, ghosts, or anything. Guys with their junior wizard kit, man, that's some scary stuff. In fact, one really creepy story. I was researching an idea for a story in which scientists would take DNA from cockroaches and give it to humans, because they would be able to live in almost any polluted environment and be sustained. They could eat through almost any substance and be nourished and also escape, and et cetera, et cetera. And a friend who was doing, this is back in 1990, there was a woman I knew who was working in genetics, and I asked her about this. She said, let me look it up. And she found that 200 government-funded studies on that, ongoing. That creeped me the hell out. Because that sounds reasonable. The logic there, if you can't fix the planet, change the species. They think that's good thinking. Holy crap.
Well, and people have been playing around with that for a long time. I know that the Japanese were screwing around with the Black Death for World War II, tested it in bits of China, and to this day they still have outbreaks of it, and they know that that's the strain that the Japanese did because they know the nature of it. So not only can you test drive it, but it'll test drive itself after a while.
Yep, sure will.
They're still playing around with smallpox.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Biological weapons. None of that's changed.
Tuberculosis has made a comeback, and smallpox is making a comeback. I mean, and also our ability to be immune or resistant to it has diminished because of the incorrect use of antibiotics. And
and that's something that drives me up the wall. Oh, go get antibiotics for it. It's a virus. It isn't going to help.
No, it's
You're
not.
either vaccinated or you're at risk, period.
True.
Right here.
First of all, I want to thank you for writing what I tend to think of as a thinky zombie novel, where I didn't get so frustrated with people I had to throw the book against the wall 3 times before I picked it up again. that was a real relief for me. And also, I think you hit the nail on the head with the whole looking at what people will do for money and power and all that. I'm definitely looking forward to the next books, but I'm wondering, will we find out any more about the characters in his team? Because I just think that some of those members, there's a lot more beneath the surface that we're getting.
Yeah, well, not all the team makes it to the end of Patient Zero, as you know. Top and Bunny are the ones who are going to be throughout the series. But the thing about the DMS, first off, no one in the DMS is safe. No character is safe. Not everybody will get out of Dragon Factory alive, for example. I think it's kind of the way the English, if you ever watch British TV, they'll kill off a character. They'll kill off Primeval. They kill off the hero, Blake Seven. You know, they love killing off the main characters because it keeps you. You're unable to rest and think, oh well, these are the series characters. There's no real tension. Yeah, there's tension. But as far as learning more about them, in the second book, Dragon Factory, we don't really explore Top and Bunny that much more. We do explore Grace. We do explore Church quite deeply. And there's a new character named Bug, who's the computer guy. We get some more with Doctor Who. And for those who haven't read the book, Doc H.U. and he is the science geek for the DMS. In Book 3, in Dragon Factory, there's a lot more. But Book 3, rather, The King of Plagues, there's a lot more with Top and Bunny. And a couple of other characters that are introduced. Echo Team goes through some changes. We get some new people. But Top and Bunny get kind of a solo adventure in the middle of King of Plagues, and we learn a lot about them. And I'm basing that, actually it's a relatively new subplot. I'm basing that on something that's happening right now with the young fellows who were accidentally crossed the border into Iran and were kidnapped. Turns out that one of them is the son of the next door neighbor of our best friends, my wife and I's best friends. And Top and Bunny are trying to get them out because there's an agenda that the public doesn't know about. So we will get to know a lot more about them. And I may or may not give you more on Mr. Church. I'm trying. A lot of it depends on whether St. Martin's wants more books. Because if this is the last book, I might throw more in. But I think there's going to be at least 2 or 3 more after this. So I might string the Mr. Church story out just a little more. And Rudy, we'll definitely get more about Rudy. Yeah, Rudy's a favorite character of mine. He has a decent role in Dragon Factory, but a big role in King of Plagues. Dragon Factory is kind of a different book because it's a race, it's a chase. So Joe is separated from everyone for a good part of the book, and by the time they get back together, there isn't time for new things about the character so much as it is trying to save the world, because they are really trying to save the world in this book. That extinction clock thing is not an exaggeration for what the bad guys are doing.
So let me ask you this, going to the idea of the variable number of books in the Joe Ledger series. Do you already have in your head, well, when it comes time to end it, I have this little nugget here that I'm going to close it out with, or is that still an open?
No, I got a James Bond sort of thing with that. He's going to live forever, but that really depends, because I could get into a perverse mood and kill him off at some point too. I mean, anything's possible.
Of course.
But I do have about 20 other Joe Ledger novels planned. If St. Martin's doesn't continue the series, we will sell it elsewhere. Mm. But I'm pretty sure St. Martin's, they're doing really well with the books. I'm pretty sure St. Martin's is going to come back to it. It hasn't reached the part of the cycle where they would naturally say, all right, what are your next 3 books? Because only 1 book's out yet. But I'm pretty sure they're going to ask for more, and I know which ones I'm going to pitch to them. Mm. And the cockroach DNA thing will factor into one of those stories, because that's just the creepiest thing I ever pitched.
Yeah, right here.